What's up, guys? Welcome back to Libertalia Game Supply. Today we're going to take a look at the ban list. I know a ton of people are doing their ban list review or ban list predictions or whatever right now, so we're just going to take a look at what's actually on the list and try to maybe guess kind of what we think might be able to come off the list. As far as what goes on the list, I don't know that I'd be the best one to make those guesses just from the little bit of personal experience I have playing just online. I would say things like DPE probably potentially could get hit in some way. I don't think that card specifically, but maybe the things that would allow for it to become a problem might get hit down to 1, just so that it's less of a problem in the future. They're definitely not going to hit DPE just because of it's a new card. They're still selling the set. I think it's partially about gameplay, partially about making some money. That kind of also goes for like Dragoon and Anaconda. They both recently got released in more current sets. Um, I think that at worst, you might see any of them get put to 1, but I don't think you're going to see any of them get banned. Not yet. It'll probably be the list after this where we would see some major changes, I would think. So we're going to run through the list. Maybe we'll look at every card, maybe we won't, and see if there's anything on here that I think that could potentially come back to 1. And what reasons I would have if that were the case. So starting at the top here, we got Astrograph Sorcerer. I can see some of the Pendulum stuff coming back. Maybe not this card in particular, but they got that new Pendulum support coming out, so I can see it coming back just to benefit the support that they are producing. Gofu and Steam the Cloak, I'm going to say no. Those things were degenerate with the token generation and the link climbing. Blasters, nope, not coming back. Black Dragon, probably still not coming back. Cyberjar, nope. Dandelion, nope. Destrudo, nope. Jin Releaser, no. For all of those, apart from the Jin Releaser, it just makes it, and the Cyberjar, it just makes it way too easy to make tokens to um, link summon things that are more generic, and so I could see them not coming back ever, or very far down the line when links aren't really the new hot summoning mechanic, so to speak. And Jin is a no just because it's it makes a lock that's just not fun to play against, I guess. Not that I don't know if there are really any ritual decks right now that exists that this thing would even end up in, but I'm sure there's something I'm not thinking of. Eclipse Wyvern and Fairy Tale Snow, probably both no's. They're just combo extenders that put a lot of I mean, there's no reason to bring Wyvern back or to leave it banned. I mean, it's a really nice extender, but I don't think that it's like they're probably not thinking about that. Snow is just way too good for what it does. Fiber Jar. Some of these older ones I don't all the way to remember the effects of, but I'm guessing any of these jars are not coming back. Fiber Jar, I think, is the one that puts all the spells and traps back in the deck, if I'm remembering correctly, or in the hand or something. It must be in the deck. Fishborg Blaster, Glow Up Bulb, Grinder Golem, Jet Synchron Level Eater, Lunalight Tiger. I don't really remember what that does. Magical Scientist. We'll stop there for now. So a lot of those probably no. They're all either token generators, really easy recursion like Jet Synchron. It just leads to some degenerate gameplay. Too much. You're giving certain decks way too many resources to just keep going, like making turns last minutes and minutes on end. Kieran, I think, could potentially come back. I mean, it's a really good card. At 1, I think it's not terrible. Plus, what I had said about the pendulum stuff earlier, I think Kieran is potentially something you could look at to come back. Masterpiece, no. Maxi is an interesting one. I had thought that I wanted to see Maxi come back, and then I played in a couple like OCG matches on Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro, and that card sucks to play against. Even at 1, it's probably worse because the odds of them having it are slim. So you got your board all set or your hand all set to make a crazy board. They drop the 1 Saki Maxi, and then you're stuck just trying to pick up the pieces and figure out what to do. It's too harsh of a punishment on your opponent's end when you Maxi them for it to really be fair. You're pretty much saying like, all right, go ahead, but I'm gonna draw 15 cards. Everything in the meta right now just combos hard as hell. So when you have that many resources, you're pretty much losing that game unless the board you built was unbelievable, which is probably unlikely. O-Lion, Same deal. Just too hard of an extender. Mind Master, I don't remember what that is. That's that psychic thing. I don't remember what it does. Harp Horror, I could see the Orcus getting their Harp Horror back. I mean, the deck is okay. It's definitely not meta or necessarily good, but it seems like it still does some stuff. I could see Harp Horror coming back to 1. Flush Fire and Monkey Board, those are probably not coming back, even though I'm thinking that Pendulums could get a boost. I don't think those two are coming back. They're just a little bit too much. Phoenixian Cluster Amaryllis, I'm not really familiar with. Redox, no. Samsara Lotus, don't recall what it is. Spiral Master Plan. What does that one do? I remember what the card looks like. I can't remember what it does. Spirals aren't going to be good just because something like this comes back would be my guess, but it's also probably not in the forethought of people's minds, so I'm going to say no. Subzito, no. Tyrant Neptune, nope. Tidal, nope. Victory Dragon, no. And Yatagarasu, definitely not. And that's all the banned effect monsters, main deck effect monsters. Norden, I would like to see it back just because I play a lot of rank 4 Boojins. Norden's a beast. It's definitely not coming back for that reason, being an instant fusion target and that free Monster Reborn and all that kind of stuff. Supreme King Starving Venom and Thunder Dragon Colossus. Probably neither. Colossus maybe to 1. It's a nice little floodgate. Thunder Dragons have done absolutely nothing since they got hit on this list. However many, it had to have been like a year or 2 ago at this point that this guy got put on here. I would like to see it at 1. I like the deck a lot, like personally just playing it. Colossus would be a nice little something to have just to make the deck suck a little bit less. So I'm hoping for that to be at 1, but not hoping real hard. I wouldn't put money on it. Guard Dragons are probably no. Electromite, I could see it. I could see him doing it. Maybe it wouldn't last very long, but I could see him giving that back to the Pendulums. Nightmare Goblin and Mermaid, probably not. Nightmare is still a really nice like sub archetype in your extra deck, and a lot of people already still play the Unicorn and the Phoenix. So if you were to throw Goblin back in there and Mermaid, I think it makes those decks way too good because literally anything can play it. They're generic. So I'm going to say no to both of those, as well as Link Cross, Summon Sorceress, Gumbler Dragon, because nobody likes to start their turn with 2 cards, and Union Carrier. So probably none of these except for maybe the Electromite. Synchros, Ancient Fairy Dragon, Denglong, Ib, and Tempest Magician. Maybe the Denglong. We've got all that new worm support. I can't remember if it requires a Yangzing or what it requires specifically, but I would like to see Denglong come back just so that the Yangzings get a little bit of their flavor back. I haven't seen anything from them in a long time, so out of all the synchros, that would be the only one I think could potentially. The rest of them are going to be no's. Lavolval Chain, unfortunately not. Invoker, no. Shockmaster, man, with the cards that exist currently that are just total lockdowns, I don't think Shockmaster is unfair compared to them, but unless they were planning on reprinting it soon, I don't see it coming back. It's a super good card. I would absolutely play it if it were to come back, and for that reason, I assume that it will not be. Tomahawk, no. Rungominiad, probably not. Just too hard of a lockdown. Dark Matter Dragon, no. Did this thing get banned was it like 10 days after it came out? And I don't think it's seen the light of day since. I think this is the card I'm thinking of. S0, probably not. As a thought, no, it didn't. This thing had like a really nasty combo that it was a part of. I can't remember what deck it was or what exactly it did. Ptolemaeus, I don't think we have any Tellarknight support coming out in the near future, but I got a feeling Tellarknight support is coming. Even still, I think this card is too good for it to come back. This is the one that I think you detach to rank it up into any like rank 5 or something like that. And it's way too open to what you can summon off of it, so I would say it's probably staying there. True King of All Calamities, no. Zen Mighty, this is the one. I've been waiting for this thing to come back for so long. Not that anybody would even play windups, and I can't remember if it's generic or if it's specific to wind-up monsters, but this thing should not be on the list anymore. It does similar to the what was the hand rip Gumblar Dragon, but I think it's just not nearly as powerful. It's not going to see as much play. I think Windup should get it back. I'm surprised that it's still here. The two Zodiacs are probably going to stay there forever. Brilliant Fusion. Mm-hmm. People seem to be thinking that it's coming back just because it's the prices on it are going up. Like people are picking them up. I don't think it's coming back. It creates so much win more in decks that are already good that there's not really. I would say no. Dagger Elma. I can't remember which one that is, but I think it does some type of like stupid loop that makes it so your opponent doesn't really ever get to play the game. So that's probably no. Safe Return, Change of Heart, Chicken Game. This thing would be cool to have back, but I don't think it will. It was also a very, very powerful card, very powerful field spell. The only reason I think that it could is because it's, what am I trying to say? Both players can use it, so both players can benefit off of it. But really, if you're the one playing it, it's because you have the circumstances necessary to make it broken, which makes it unfair, and it's probably a no. Cold Wave also a no. Confiscation, Delinquent Duo, Dimension Fusion, all knows. Giant Trunade, I could see it. They had that Hey Trunade thing come back and do nothing. I think, I mean, we have Harpy's Feather Duster. I don't know that Trunade is really that different necessarily. I can see Trunade coming back. Charity, definitely a not ever. Heavy Storm is kind of in the same boat as Giant Trunade. If you gave us Feather Duster, Trunade, and Heavy Storm could potentially see some play. But I don't remember if Feather Duster is at 1 or... Yeah, it's at 1. If you put them all at 1, I guess that's 3 back row wipes that you could potentially play in a deck, which is probably pretty frustrating for back row heavy based decks. I could see one of the two coming back, probably Trunade if I had to pick one. Kaiser Coliseum, probably not just because of the rulings issues, but I love that card. I played the hell out of it when it was legal. I wouldn't mind seeing it again, but I'm quite certain I will not. Last Will, no. Mass Driver, definitely not. Metamorphosis, definitely not. Mirage of Nightmare, Painful Choice, Pot of Greed. All those are going to be no's. Those old spells that got banned are banned because they're so broken. Premature Burial, also a no. Smoke Grenade of the Thief. I mean, I'm sure if this came back, people would start to play the Infernoble deck that really abused it again, just for the fun of it, but I don't know that there are really many other decks right now that would play this over other things that would be better in their specific circumstance. Snatch Steal, we tried that one. That's a no. Soul Charge. Another one I remember fondly, but definitely not coming back. It's just so good. Spellbook of Judgment. I can see that coming to 1. Um, it's that one is specific to spellbooks, I believe, because you need to play spellbook spell cards. So I suppose you could have like maybe like a Dark Magician's spellbook deck that could abuse it, but even that wouldn't be super powerful. It wouldn't really break the meta, I don't think, and it would be kind of fun to play again. So I can see that coming back. Grass Looks Greener. That's another one I don't think's coming back. A lot of people seem to be calling for it. I just think that those 60 card grass decks that were just like instantly, if you resolve that grass, you have 20 or so resources, and if you went second, it's probably more than 20 resources in that graveyard immediately. Is just so powerful. Forceful Sentry and Zodiac Barrage. Barrage. Probably not. Probably not to either of those. Barrage, I think eventually we'll see it's the light of day again, but not on this list. And then the traps. Last turn. Return from the Different Dimension, Royal Oppression, Self-Destruct Button, Sixth Sense, Time Seal, Trap Dust Shoot, Ultimate Offering, and Vanity's Emptiness. These are all pretty old cards that have been here for a while. I think they should stay there. They're all pretty busted. Vanities was one that I really wanted back for a while, but at this point I just don't like. If it comes back, every deck will play it, and the game becomes less fun because of it. And I think that's a pretty common thing for pretty much all of these cards, other than the self-destruct button, is just because of that goofy. Is it a burn deck? I want to say that I'm pretty sure it's a burn deck that it's just like kind of a random out there deck that was stealing games from people. So not much in the band that I think is going to be able to come back. I think if anything, we're going to see more things go into band than come out to limited or greater. But we'll see. As far as limited, all the Exodia pieces are going to stay at 1 forever. Armageddon Knight, Collapse Serpent, Cyberstein, the Dangers. Nah, they're probably staying. We got Nessie back. I don't think they're going to give us Jackalope and Tsuchinoko back. Cyberstein, even at 1, nobody's playing it. If it was at 3, I still don't know that anybody was going to play it. I don't think it's that good of an effect anymore. I couldn't think of what fusion monster you'd be summoning with that would make it broken again. And Dark Grepher. I think Grepher and Knight, both at 1, are good where they're at. Definitely, they do kind of the same thing. I think that being able to fill up your graveyard for free, kind of like that Grass Looks Greener, is it's just a little too much with how much you can use the graveyard right now, and probably for the foreseeable future of the game. Dynamite Knight, True Draco Fighter. I don't know that it matters. I don't think anybody's going to play the deck again if that were to go to 2 or 3. Pankratops probably staying at 1. Eva probably staying at 1, if not getting banned with the new the agent stuff. I think we're getting new agent stuff coming out, and I believe this is a fairy support card that is pretty good. So if anything, it goes to 0, but it won't move from there. Exodia staying at 1. Birdman, Infernity Archfiend, Lysaniasaurus, Morphing Jar, Night Assailant, Phantom Sky Blaster, Red Eyes Darkness, Metal Dragon. All that's probably staying at 1. It's just, you're looking at a lot of cards that do something really, really cool, really good. And if you're able to do it 3 times, or more, whatever, or reliably see it really consistently, it would make certain decks just blow out other decks because of how efficient they are at using their resources or creating new resources. And that's what a lot of these 1-0s seem like to me. Like, if they do it once, you only got to get around it once. Cool, whatever. If they do it 3 times and can get to it on turn 1, 50% of the time, that's probably a little too much. Salamangreat Gazelle, Servant of Endymion. Terratop, Quick Fix, Tempest, True King Lithosagem, Sagim, White Dragon Wyver Buster, sorry, and Zodiac Rapier. All those kind of fall into that same category. Like, they do something super, super well. Terratop's the one that I think does it special summon itself and another Terratop, or itself and another Speedroid or something. Like, it was like a rank 3 thing. Really, we have things that do what Terratop does, so I don't know necessarily that it would have to stay at 1 unless there's something about its effect that I'm not remembering. You have stuff like the Bee Trooper, Scout Buggy, the Galaxy Worm, the Kagamucha Knight, like things that kind of do a similar thing. So, with that being said, you don't necessarily need this back because of those things. Yeah. Gemini Master Diamond, probably not because of that nasty OTK. Prank Kids, Meow Meow Moo. I've not ever played against a Prank Kids deck, so I have no idea what this thing even does. I'm going to probably say leave it at 1. Striker Dragon at 1. And Prank Kids are still a good deck right now. And good. So what help do they really need? Cyber Angel Ben 10, probably a no. I think that, did that get put there for, is it Drytron? Drytron's not really doing that much, but I would probably leave the Ben 10 there. Omega at 1, Hyper Librarian at 1, Trishula at 1. Those could probably all stay. They all do. I mean, Omega especially, the thing is nasty to deal with. I remember when people were playing multiples of that, so you'd have the 2 on board, and the 1 would rip your hand, and they would kind of like switch back and forth, so you didn't ever have to not have 1 on board. And that sucked. Like, playing against a pure Psy-Frame deck when the deck came out was so hard to deal with. Librarian is just too much draw power, I would say. Beatrice, Augusto Emerald, Salamangreat, Mirage Stalio. Yeah, probably not moving. Beatrice, maybe you could put it up to, I don't know that people are really playing BA that much right now anyway. But really, do you need more than 1? Emerald, that's another one I got fond memories of. It's probably never coming back. It's just too easy and too free, unfortunately. But I'm a fan. Spells. A Hero Lives? No. Ban it. Crush those hero decks. That's just a joke. I don't think this card's really even a big part of the hero decks that are running amok right now anyway. Called by the Grave. This, please, give me more than one. It just feels like even two would be nice, because there's not really even recursion to get the thing back. Once you've used it, you've used it. The reason I would like to see more than one is because you're pretty much just rolling the dice hoping that you have it turn one. So when your opponent can play triple Nibiru, triple Ash Blossom, and you get the one answer, or I guess Nibiru doesn't count there, but triple Ash Blossom, you got Effect Veiler, you've got, what are the other ones? I suppose Imperm, probably, if you Imperm from the hand. Like, any of those hand traps you can play at 3, and I get one Call by the Grave, so I just gotta hope that I play this one on the one hand trap at the right time, and they probably have more in hand. I at least would like 2. I can understand not having 3 because it'll get to be a little bit much where they're not able to resolve anything to stop you, but I think I should be able to resolve 2 to be able to stop 2 of the many hand traps that you're playing against. Card Destruction, probably staying at 1. Card of Demise. Card of Demise, which one? Is that the, I think that's the one that lets you draw. No, the draw and discard one is like Cards from the Abyss or something. I think Demise is the one that makes you discard your hand. Oh no, it doesn't let you special summon. I didn't even know this was at 1 because nobody plays it, but maybe it's because it's at 1. I mean, you could probably bring it back above 1. I don't know that it matters that much. People don't really play it. It wasn't, I mean, I think when it got hit, my guess would be it was when you could play 3 of them and people were using it for, like, Chain Burn really used it a lot. And then decks that just set all their back row, so there's nothing for you to lose out on. To be like a normal summon, all the back row. So it's 1 and set 5 and pass, and this really facilitated that, which probably had a lot more to do with the floodgates that they were setting, making the game really, really hard to play through, rather than that card specifically being super busted. And I don't know that we really have the same amount of floodgates in the game right now that go in the back row, so I could see this coming back to more than 1. Chain Strike, Dimensional Fissure, Divine Wind, Draco Face Off, Dragonic Diagram, Final Countdown, Tenki. Please give me Tenki back. I understand that Tri Brigade abuses it. Hit Tri Brigade, give me back my Tenki. I need Tenki, please. Give it back to me. That being said, I don't think it's coming back unless they were to hit Tri Brigade, which I don't think is happening on this list, so it's probably stuck here for a little while longer. I do think once Tri Brigade gets hit, Tenki gets returned to us. Foolish Burial, definitely staying at 1. Gateway, Gold Sarcophagus, Harpy's Feather Duster. So this Feather Duster is interesting. As I was talking about earlier, I don't know if you would put Feather Duster to 2 or give me the Giant Trunade or the Heavy Storm back or something like that, but I could see something like that happening. I think Feather Duster is potentially going to be able to come off more and more in the future, but you're probably never going to see like 3 Duster, 3 Storm, 3 Trunade or anything like that. Inferno Launcher, Instant Fusion, and Into the Void, that's the one I was thinking of. And the Cards from the Abyss, I made that up. Into the Void was the one that went with the Card of Demise. That's the one I think that you have to discard your hand in the end phase, which now especially, that would be, like, there's so many decks that want to throw stuff in the graveyard that's so much setup plus the draw. I can't remember if it was a draw 1 or draw 2. It might have even been a draw 2 and then you discard everything, so I think that's just crazy. Midbreaker Field, Mind Control, Monster Reborn, 1 day apiece. 1-for-1 Raigeki. I can see Raigeki going to more than 1. Yeah, I could see it. 1-for-1 is no. The rest of these are probably no's. They're good at 1. They're fine. Reasoning, Rhoda. This, they did put at 3 for a while, and it was super good, so that's probably never happening again. Selema Great Circle, Scapegoat, Sekka's Light. This, I suppose, could potentially come back. This was really big with, I think, Mermail, because you could just play a ton of water monsters and triple Sekka's Light, and it gave you like a ton of draw for pretty much nothing, I believe, other than you don't really get to play any other spells and traps. So that's probably not coming back, but I could see it coming back. I don't think it would make any decks that currently exist be super, super broken, so perhaps. Set rotation, all the Sky Strikers. We got Hornet Drones, multi-roll, and Engage. We are getting that Sky Striker support in the future, so perhaps something like maybe Engage could go to 2. Maybe not drones or multi-roll. I could see something happening to boost Sky Striker once that new support comes out, so it's probably not this list, but the following. Depending on when that support does come out for us, it's probably a while from now. Slash Draw, Spiral, Resort, Terraforming, Trickstar, Light Stage, Upstart, Goblin. Some of these... No. These are probably all good at 1. And really, at 1, there's not a whole lot you can complain about because you still get to play the card at least. It just feels really bad to have to completely cut something, especially if you like that card specifically. So getting to play one of them is probably good. Spiral, I don't think Spiral would be very good even if they gave everything back. So I guess Resort potentially, but I don't think anybody cares about that either. So they're not going to do it. And then the traps. So this is a little bit more interesting. Imperial Order, Macrocosmos, Magical Explosion, Metaverse, Red Reboot, Skill Drain, and Wall Revealing Light. Imperial Order is the big one. People want to see this thing get banned. It's definitely super, super powerful. I could see it getting banned for that reason. Like, I played a game where I just flipped the Imperial Order on a deck that starts most of their plays with spells on turn 1. And it was just over. Like, that's the end of the game. You can't, like, what do you do now? If your deck runs on spells, what do you do now? So I can see that going to 1, but it's a really nice evening out card because, like obviously there's no limit to how many spells you can activate, so if I'm playing a really monster-heavy deck, apart from, like, all the special summoning that your decks can do, it is kind of a nice even out, but they should also have one in exchange, so either you would ban this or give back something that kind of does a similar thing in reverse, so like the, what was it, Vanity's Emptiness would be a pretty, I think, similar counterpart to Imperial Order, but it's actually probably a little bit easier to even destroy a Vanities versus an Imperial Order just by its own card mechanics. So that one's interesting. I would like to keep it at 1, but I could definitely see it getting banned. For the rest of these, they're probably staying at 1. They're really, really good at what they do, but I think you don't need to take them away. I don't think they're a problem, but giving more would make them a really big problem, so 1 is plenty. For the 2s, these are probably all... I mean, maybe Joker goes to 3. Teleport, I don't know that I've even seen people playing this. So maybe that could go to 3. I think the Militia stays at 2 for sure. Nessie could probably go to 3. And then, that's going to... whatever. And that finishes up the list there. So, I don't know. It's just interesting to look through the list and see what's going on and what we think may or may not come back. As far as what's going on in the list, like I said, I don't see any of the big problems, like the big fusion boss monsters getting hit too hard just yet. Maybe a slight slap on the wrist, and then they'll get obliterated in a few months, whenever the next Banlist is or the one after that. I'm hoping to see Tri-Brigade get hit. I want that Tenki back. Otherwise, I'm pretty excited. 10 days until the No Sooner Than is up. Hopefully we're getting it in 10 days or less, so we have an idea what the next format looks like. I always love Banlist season. Thank you guys for hanging out with me, taking a look at this list. If you got thoughts on what you think will or will not come back, or if you agree or disagree with anything I said, make sure you leave it in the comments below. Let's talk about it. But until then, have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time.